Okay, let's turn the sound off here. Here we have a situation with the track where we've got a kink here. It doesn't affect all locomotives, but if I can show you what's happening here. Get this going so I can hear, change direction. I'm doing it without sound. The sound does work absolutely fine. There you go, you can hear it, but I'll turn it off so you can hear me. And you will see as it goes through here, there is a kink. You'll see it as it goes through, speed it up a little bit. Going backwards, you'll hear it. Hear it? Because the bend is just slightly too tight. Here is a slightly different view, and you'll see as it comes through here backwards, it's just slightly too tight. See it? And we're going to do something about this. Now where this is here, the thoughts are, do I want to change this for one loco? Now what you have to think is, while the Mighty P2 may be the only one that does it there, you will improve the running of other locos. Now I could put flexi track in and move this around a little bit like this, but then I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul, because I'm still going to have to, if what I take from one side I'm going to take from the other. Now when you're altering track, what you have to take into consideration is your point motors, the distance between other carriages, because you don't want them clipping. This isn't really a bend, so you're not going to get much of that. And how you're going to affect the other items here. And what we've come up with is this streamlined point, which goes onto the bend, which you can see. This here stays exactly the same, but you're pulling this in a little bit more. So in effect what you're doing is you're nearly getting a straight piece of track going to that point. The point motor can either go there or be moved up there, which isn't a problem. So you can see how the improvement is there. Now when you're thinking about modifying track, you look at when you're doing the modification, where do you have the most flexibility when you're doing it? Here, flexor, you can move this slightly. You've got lots of flexibility. Here on this bend you haven't, because it is what it is. So basically you will use this bend, you will choose a part of this bend to start to make sure the point is over far enough to flatten this out here, and you will use this as a starting point, because you know this is the most critical part, this bend. Here you can alter a fraction with flexi track either way. It's not going to make any difference to the way the loco runs, but if you kink this track and do not get it right, it will. Obviously here where you've straightened this, where you've brought this over, you know that's going to work. And because I've used screws and not tacks, I can take this up fairly easily. Okay, well now we've ascertained what we want to do. We're putting this point in. And as I've said, this is a benchmark for the track. So the first thing you do is start removing the screws. And this is why I say you use screws rather than tacks, because you're not bashing around anything. And up they come, or they should. There's a screwdriver on that to help you out. And up they come, and it's simple stuff. Well, it should be. There we go. And you can see it's fairly easy. And it's that simple. You take them up, put the electric screwdriver on it, No bashing around with a claw hammer. You're not going to damage anything. No collateral damage, so anything you're using like points that are part of this, you can use them again. And this is why I use screws. And the screws are of course reusable. There's no problem there, so you keep them. Unlike tacks, you take them out and bend them, you can't reuse them. You can't use the same holes in the track with a tack because it works like a nail. And it's simple stuff. With an electric screwdriver, the only thing I would say is when you put them back, I'll just mention it now, when you put screws back, do not be keen with the electric screwdriver, because the last thing you want to do, and here just help it up a little bit loose here for one reason or another. Up it comes, and that's all the screws out. Simple stuff, 5 minutes. If I'd have had tacks, it would have taken me a lot longer to get them out. So it's not only the fact that you're not fisting anything, time, that was easy. Okay, the first thing you do is, you don't want to paddle everything, you just put hot water on the track. And everything you want to lift, you put hot water on it. Now the great thing about UPVA is, it holds everything down really well. But what's also brilliant is, you put hot water on it and it loses its adhesiveness. And what else is good about it is the fact that it will stick again when it dries. It's fantastic stuff really. And you can see here loads of hot water, and we're using a glass pipette because the water's so hot. A plastic one, it would just melt, to be honest. But plenty of water. And the point here I don't want to destroy, because there's nothing wrong with it, it's just that we're just improving the track. You can see here we've got the pond here, we don't want to damage this, so we're just putting enough water on. I can see a screw there I've missed, and you let it soak in for a while. Now the part of the track that is not going to be used again is here, so we're going to let this soak in for a while. The first thing I do is the track I'm going to sacrifice, i.e. I don't care what's happening to it, I cut through it. So what you're doing is you're making it so it's easier to lift the rest of the track up. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two bits off. And this is a battery Dremel which I'm using, which is pretty cool. And now it's just a case of lifting the track up. Now hopefully it's done enough that, there we go, and up it comes. Now this has got some wire soldered to it by the looks of it. That's not the end of the world, you can see it there, but now it's just a case of, there we go. And it's basically how you do it, just gently ease it up. But the most important thing is I don't want to damage the point, because the point somebody else could use. You could even sell it. Here, got to spring off the point motor. I will have to remove that at some stage. In fact, I will do it now, all in real time. Lift this up. Case of undoing the screws, and as I say, it's got glue in it. And you can see what's going on here. Now, should be enough there. Can't find the screws, so I retrieve the pipette. I'll do this in real time so you can see what's going on. and I put some hot water on there. Hopefully it will be hot enough, I hope. Fine. Now I don't want to destroy the point motor, they're not cheap. I want to reuse this. But where we've done such a good job with all this. There we go. So it's got the screws out there. And what you do is, don't be afraid to use water. And you just gently, you don't want to destroy the point motor. Just prise it out. And I think we need to boil the kettle again. Okay, we've reheated some more water. Now, for the water to cut through the UPVA and make the glue useless, it's got to be piping hot. Even if you leave it for say 2 minutes, it suddenly is not hot enough. And here, and you can see how dug in this is. Now these wires are to solder to the track. Can you get me some cutters please? Little black cutters. Now this should start to lift, and it is, you can see it is. But as I say, I don't want to damage it, I want to reuse it. You just gently prise it out. And here we go. You wonder how something can be stuck so well in, for one reason or another. Well, I'm going to cut these wires off because they just soldered onto the track. I'll put those back later. Gives me better access. There we go. And that's the point motor released, and you can see that was quite easy. Now when you take a point out, you don't want to buckle it. It's a gentle easing out job. Now here, there's not enough water there to lift it. I can see it's dry, feel it's dry. You don't be afraid to put loads of water on. Now you can pull the point gently, but as I say, you don't want to pull it off the and you can see how well UPVA actually holds stuff down, and there's no screws on this, and you can see, just gently ease it, pulling from side to side. Here we go. But as I say, you don't want to buckle it, and you can see I'm just gently easing it out. I'm not going mad, gently pulling a bit at a time. And there we go, 1 point extracted, and you can see it's not buckled. And basically that's what we do with all of the track. We know the track we want to take out, so we just gently, there we go. Don't go mad with it, just gently take it out. Don't try and force it, you know it's going to come out. You know it is. And here, again here. Gently easing it out, gently, a bit at a time. You don't want to wreck what you want to keep, and there we go, and you just gently pull it out. And you can see we've got all the track out. Thank you. Right, here on this piece of track here, I used some solder because it basically had a gap. So what you do is you hold a soldering iron on it, and that's it. Simple, where you soldered track, and there you go. That was easy, wasn't it? Dead simple. Now what we've done is we've wetted this area here, and you can see these washers. If we can boil the kettle again and have some more hot water. And what you do, you then need to get, because I mean this UPVA is great stuff, and you can see with my hand it's starting to soften, but because round here has been down for a number of years, and you can see here are the washers we've used as shims, because a millimetre is 3 inches, 2 millimetres is 6 inches. Now a train in real life is going to make a hell of a clunk if there's a 6-inch drop or gap. The problem with electric trains is that that's equivalent to a 6-inch drop on the smaller locos, affects the power supply. So that's why we use 1mm and 2mm washers as shims, for that reason. Again, we're putting, because this UPVA soaks up water, and it's got to be piping hot, really piping hot, to soften this UPVA glue. You've got to get every part up, because remember these little lumps of ballast could be 1-2 millimetres thick, and suddenly you've gone to all the effort of putting all the track down and the damn thing's derailing. And basically what you do is you just leave this to soak in, and you don't worry about it running across to where it doesn't need to be, because the ground has stains on it anyway in real life. And now we're just going to leave it to soak. Okay, what's happening now is we're scraping up the ballast, and you can see it's been down for a long time. But all you do is, if it's not loose enough, then you just put more hot water on it, and it will eventually absorb it, and it will just scrape up like little bits of gravel. Obviously I don't need you to film showing somebody using a scraper getting up the ballast. And here you can see how the scraping's going. It's nearly all up. Then we'll start thinking about the track. But you can see it's all coming up nicely now. Now here you can see we've pretty much cleaned up all the track, and we're ready to measure up. We're making sure, just going over now, making sure that there's no little stones. Remember, a millimetre is 3 inches in real life, 2 millimetres is 6 inches, which would affect a locomotive running in real life. But bear in mind, a locomotive is powered not from the track. So if you imagine a loco in real life and it's got a 6-inch drop in where it receives the power, you can imagine it's not going to be that great. But you can see it's pretty much there. And now we're going to offer up the track and work out exactly what we want to do.